Okay, so hello, my fellow brothers and sisters, in this spiritual battle that we call um, organized surveillance, i.e., spiritual warfare, and I'm going to get into that. So, on this video, I kind of want to talk about when when I was really woken up to the whole situation of being watched, about how this whole targeted individual thing is just as much spiritual as it is physical. um I'll just begin. Okay, so around, I'm going to say, well, first of all my life, I've always been a very spiritual child. Spiritual person. I remember as a child, certain spiritual things, would happen. I guess some people call them supernatural phenomenon. I've always experienced, the supernatural, even as a child. Um, so I kind of already, my eyes were kind of a little bit already open to the fact that there are more influences than what the naked eye can see. I've always pretty much known that there's kind of like a hidden world, I guess you could say, or a hidden realm that also affects this world. I've always known that there is something more, so we can start there. And that, like I said, that I've always had as a child. Like I've, had certain experiences, where I knew that there was like a secret, not really a secret world, but like spirits and like spiritual realm and all that. And as far as being targeted, or, I also believe that went on like in my childhood as well, because I can remember certain instances, like even in school, or run-ins with certain people, that now as an adult and knowing about this, I kind of like think back, like, that was kind of strange, or like, but I won't get into any details about that, yet, because I'm still trying to, I'm really just starting to kind of talk about, this situation. So we're going to fast forward. So I already know, basically, that there's a spiritual realm, good and bad, that can affect you in the physical realm. I started to remember, like in school, just certain occurrences that I felt were just like weird. So we're gonna fast forward. So we're gonna go through life, okay, life, whatever. Around the year, I want to say, you know what? I don't know the exact year. It was within the past 5 to 7 years. I was living in LA, and while I was in LA, I would say I was going through my own, you know, basically finding myself, I guess you could say. I was trying to find myself, and so with that being said, I, was also trying to find myself spiritually. Well, of course, the it's going to come to, me finding out about the spiritual and all that. But I was trying to find myself. So long story short, I started this whole like spiritual journey. I ended up, let me back up. I've also always been like involved in like, well, my family and everything. We've been like involved like with like church and stuff like that. So I've always believed in God. I've always known like God. I've like heard of Jesus and everything, but like even up until that point, I mean, to be honest, I was it was in the back of my mind. Like, it was like I knew there was a God and everything. I knew there was like spirits, you know, people who could be inhabited by spirits, people who could be influenced by spirits, positive and negative. So one day, I don't know, I just had this kind of like feeling that, you know, like I kind of want to, because at this moment I was kind of in a dark moment. I'm not gonna lie. I was going out a lot. I was just doing a lot of things that, I mean, it comes with life, you know. But as I realized, you know, this is the plan of God Himself. Like, it all ties into this big plan, and as you go further and further, you see like, oh, that's why that happened, you know. But okay, anyway, so I had something told me to just, you know, start researching like angels, and start researching like about Jesus. And so somehow I started researching like ancient writings of like ancient like biblical writings, or like Aramaic, you know, Hebrew writings, and something told me to like write the Archangel Michael's name in Hebrew. And when this thought first came to my mind, I was like, okay, why? That's pretty random. I thought it was pretty random, but I came to find out later it was because I was kind of. I mean, I've heard about God and stuff, but because I was still kind of new in the whole spiritual thing, I had to, you know, crawl before I walk, you know, and we'll get to the run in a little bit. But something told me to write that. So I wrote, and actually painted it. I painted it on this like big, huge, like board. And something also told me, I mean, later I found out it was God Himself, but something told me to like hang it above my wall for the next few days, you know. Because also at this time, I had a roommate and everything, and, okay, that's kind of irrelevant. Anyway, so one day, so a few days pass, and I'm just getting more and more into like reading about like ancient like angels, and like kind of getting into the Bible kind of, but not really that deep. I'm getting more into like specifically how angels helped humans, or how the angels helped people, you know, in the Bible. So one day, something just told me to, okay, back up. I had also started meditating in this moment. So I started meditating. I started listening to like music such as, you know, what you're hearing, and I started meditating a lot. And when I would meditate, mind you, I've always been very spiritual person, even as a kid, but I didn't know just how connected to the spiritual realm I was. So when I started meditating, I would start kind of lightweight having visions and feeling like, almost feeling lifted. Like almost like I would literally feel like inside my body would be like vibrations changing. So I was like, wow, well this is obviously, you know, obviously something's going on that I can't really explain, but I know it's like basically supernatural, you know, or spiritual really, but for people who aren't really, you know, supernatural. So this one specific time, it was at night, and something just told me to do like a very long meditation. And I went to the meditation, and it went to almost like an eternal prayer. The way I can explain it is I was listening to this music, and I was like emptying my mind, trying to calm my mind. And then I started kind of talking in my mind, like asking God, you know, I was like, God, you know, like show me like what I'm doing, why I'm doing this, you know, guide me, you know, help me with this, blah, blah, blah. And I went to this very deep prayer, and I literally like my hands started like kind of like raising. Okay, this part. If you're not a very like spiritual person, or you're not a very I wouldn't even say open-minded, but you know what? I just have to share my story. This is true. I mean, I have no reason to lie, but I felt my hands kind of raising, and I started crying. Like, I got really, really emotional. That's how I knew. I was like, okay, this is real. I just started reaching, and I started really actually starting to like ask God for guidance, to help me, because I'm trying to like find myself. I'm trying to find like strength. And after about, literally, you guys, it was probably about 30 minutes. I was emotional, meditating and praying all at the same time, laying down, listening to meditation music. And I had remembered that I had this painting over my head of the Archangel Michael. And so I started asking the Lord to send, I think I was saying, like, if he himself couldn't assist me, to please, I literally said he was too busy. I was like, you're too busy, Lord, please send, one of your helpers or something to assist me, in this moment, because I don't really know what's going on, but I know that I'm, going into a deeper level of understanding. So long story short, I ended up having this big release. Like, you guys, we're gonna, okay, on the next scripture reading for encouragement, we're gonna talk about the veils and like the veil being open. The veil being torn, and the scales from your eyes being open. Because you guys, literally, I felt like something leave my body. Like, it wasn't me, but now I know it was like, I wouldn't say it was like a demonic presence, but I literally felt something leave my body and like fly. I didn't see anything, but I felt it. And after that happened, like, I was still in meditation. I was still in meditation for maybe not even 5 more, like a very short time. And like, I kind of like stopped everything. And I stopped the music. And I just felt like, I don't know, almost like a whole new vision. Like, I was like, like things looked brighter, like literally things like started looking brighter. And then something told me to go outside, because I was still, even though I had stopped my meditation, I was still like emotional and trying to figure it all out. And when I walked outside, the first thing I saw, mind you, this is nighttime. The first thing I saw was this random white car. Mind you, I'm on a balcony about maybe, I want to say 3 stories up. And it was on the corner, so there was like a street here, a street here. There was like a street here, and like when I walk, mind you, after I finish my meditation, I walk outside on the balcony. Because I'm standing up, as I walk out, I can see downward. And the first thing I saw was this random car, like in the middle of the street, with this person outside of the car looking right at the like right at me at the balcony. Mind you, I had not been outside in the past like hours. I just did this major meditation, this major spiritual cleansing, basically. And I walk outside, and there's this random car parked in the middle of the street with this guy. Like, he wasn't even he was literally standing outside the car looking. He was already outside before I even got out the balcony, he was already outside the car. The car was there, and he was staring right at me. He was like looking, like, I knew it was me because it was pretty late. I was the only one on the balcony. He was like just standing there looking. But I could sense that there was like a worry. I don't know how to explain it. I could sense like there was like he was worried about something, like oh my goodness, like, but a bad worry, So keep that in mind. So that happened. So that's when I first realized, like I was like, well, in my mind I was thinking, okay, why is this person? First of all, why is he already here? He's already here. He's already parked. He's already standing outside his car, and he's looking directly at me. Before I was, like, he was already there. Excuse me. Before I even walked out onto the balcony, meaning he already knew, and it was just him. You guys, like, You could say maybe he was just standing with friends. No, it was literally just him. The car was parked middle of the street. Okay, no other cars around, just that car. The man was standing right outside his car. Imagine his car was parked that way. His face was turned towards me, so he wasn't even he was facing towards me and was looking right up at where I was. And the look on his face, like, because I looked directly at him. When I looked directly at him, the face just was like he was worried about something. Okay. Later, of course, now I realized, what that was. But I'm gonna bring that part first because this whole like surveillance and like gang stalking thing, the way that they operate, like knowing like where you're gonna be, or like as soon as you go somewhere, the place could be completely empty, and like as soon as you go there, they like surround you. Like that's when I kind of realized, okay, there's something going on outside of what I can even understand, really, and the fact that I first realized like that the fact that was the first time I actually witnessed or felt like myself being like actually watched by something or a person or whatever, I was like, you know what? I just had this major spiritual awakening. I was asking God, to just guide me and show me what I needed to see. And I felt almost like something just something that was blocking my vision, left my body. And the first thing I see is this random car standing there, this random car and this guy like completely facing the opposite way of where his car is parked, looking directly at me. Like as I'm walking out, you guys, like I said, he was already there. The car was already parked. It was just him. He was like looking directly at me. I only made eye contact when I actually looked down. Because you can see like in your peripheral, especially if you're on the higher altitude, you can see without actually, looking. But okay. Anyway, so I say that, but after that, I started noticing literally people like randomly like just staring and like surrounding me for no reason. Like another instance. After that, I had moved, and I remember taking a walk, and I had to walk past these. It was like It was a few apartments, and as I was walking, there was this lady standing like outside of her door, because you have to like in some apartments you have like a door before you get to the actual apartment door. So as I was walking almost like towards her, and like and we made eye contact. But once again, when I looked directly at her, I could just sense this kind of like a worry almost. Like as I was walking closer and closer, it's like she got like more and more scared. And but mind you guys, when I was a distance away, I saw her, but she was just literally just standing there, like, you guys, no lie. She was just standing there like I could like in my peripheral, but I kind of glanced, like she was obviously like watching like me as I was walking, like, but she was like a distance away. But as I got closer, she like started like was all disheveled. And then like when I got maybe I want to say maybe about 20 feet away, and I was still walking in her direction, she like ran. Like she opened the door so fast and like went into the pre-entrance doorway. I was like, okay, that's weird. But even weirder, because it was a glass door, even weirder, so I'm thinking, okay, maybe she just, I don't know, she just has anxiety or something. But the more weird part was when I walked past the glass door, she was standing right at the entrance, still watching me walk past. Like, I like glanced, and she was like literally, she like ran in, but like I guess I don't know. She just I don't know, but yeah, she was still like literally standing in the glass door, like watching me like walk past, like. And that's after I've had a few other instances, but that's another instance that sticks in my mind. I say this, you guys, to express that, for those of you who don't believe that, this whole targeting thing or this whole surveillance thing, or like, people talk about like the noise campaigns and like things that they do just to try to annoy you. You have to believe that this is above human influence, because just some of the things that happen, like people showing up to places just to mess with you or say crazy things before you even get there, or like people just appearing right behind you in cars, when you're like literally on a straightway road, and all of a sudden this car, with these lights just appears behind you. Like there is basically a spiritual influence. And for those of you who are truly, targeted individuals, well, a main reason that you are targeted is because, you're probably very spiritually in tune, you're very intuitive. You can sense things, which helps, but also is a little bit annoying because you can sense like people's intentions. You can sense. Oh, speaking of that, another instance. I was at the grocery store, and I was paying for my groceries, and I just sensed like someone watching me. Mind you, there's tons of people in the store. Tons of people probably look at you. Maybe they think you're attractive. Maybe they think, you look familiar. But you can always spot out those specific people who are like surveilling you. Because literally when I looked, I glanced. I was like, okay, yeah, she's staring right at me. And she was like, okay, you guys, like, if you can imagine, she was like almost outside the aisle where you go to like the registers. But she was halfway in. She had her cart. She was just standing with her cart. Mind you, she was like, maybe like at least 4 to 5 aisles down. And she was just standing with her cart, like looking directly at me. So I looked at her. And to test it, I just looked back. I was just looking to see how long she was going to look right at me. And she was just staring right back at me. Like, I was like, okay, maybe she knows me. I was like, maybe she knows me. Being a good person, you're trying to give people the benefit of the doubt. So I start walking to her. And then when I stopped right at her cart, you guys, I can see like her hand, like she's literally shaking. She's shaking, you guys. But I came to find out is that a lot of these people who have negative influences within them or around them, they can sense people who have, a higher energy, basically. So she was shaking, and I can't remember exactly what I said to her, but I just remember specifically, she just started like, her hands were shaking, but she was still talking to me as if like she was trying to hide it. Like, but I could see her hands shaking. And I asked her something, I think something about surveillance or something. And I asked her, I can't remember exactly, you guys. Like, I had to have been led by the spirit, positive spirits, but I can't remember what. And it came to the I got her to admit about, she was a part of a surveillance team. But she mentioned that, she couldn't tell me anymore, or I would have to pay her more than what they're paying her. At that moment, I was like, okay. I was like, okay. These people are, like, there's something really going on. And further confirmation was when I walked outside the store, like directly outside the store, there was a huddle of these dudes, and they were saying they were saying, as they do, cowardly, they were like waiting till I like came out the store, but they were like right at the door, and as soon as I walked out, they were saying stuff like, what was it? It was like yeah, people were asking about surveillance, like they're gonna pay us, or they were repeating some of the information she was giving me and some of the questions I was asking her, but they were saying it loud enough that I could hear. And at that moment, I was like, wow, like, it's like if I even thought that I was wrong about this, I was like, okay, yeah, this is really like an organized, this is really a planned type of ordeal, you know? I say all that to say this. You guys going through, you know, these things, just keep your eyes open. Don't think that, even as the Bible says, you know, we don't battle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers and principalities of evil in high places, in the heavenly places. Like, you guys, this battle and this surveillance and all this is just as much spiritual as it is physical, which is why I myself have really had to turn inward, you know, and ask for more spiritual help. And I encourage you guys to do the same, because dealing with this, like, you can trust people, but because even as humans, we all are fallible. We all still make mistakes. We all can be influenced, you know, wrongly or correctly, you know. And it's just very important to try and seek, you know, more spiritual assistance, more spiritual strength. Even if it's just saying a prayer. I'm not saying you have to read your Bible front and back 24/7 all day, every day. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is that you do have to consider that this battle involves more than what you can see with the naked eye. Because if you guys are going through the whole organized surveillance thing, if you guys are target individuals, you understand that things happen where you're like, how? You're like, how? Basically, like, how would they even know this? Like, why would someone mention this I was just talking about to someone completely different? But they say it to you in a way to almost mess with you. You know, it's like, how does this person know this? Things happening with your phone, like electronics, like the how is because, you guys, this is more than just you know, than flesh and blood. There are very negative entities, negative influences, negative people who are influenced by these negative entities, you know, to do what they do to those who are positive and have a positive energy and have positive help, you know. So this is kind of like an introduction, because as you guys know, I'm going to be tying in the whole physical and spiritual part of this whole gang stalking, target individual, you know, situation. And maybe someone shares the same story. Maybe other people who are out there who are also intuitive and have been like, how do I even know this? Like, how do I sense this person? Like, how do I know this person has this intention, that person has that intention, without even talking to the person? But then they always, you know, prove you to be right. It's because, you guys, this is just as much a physical battle as a spiritual battle. And really, it's even more spiritual, because the spiritual you can't exactly see with your naked eye. You can't exactly know, you know, until you kind of encounter it, and it kind of makes you realize, like, wow, like, certain people know, like, your movements and actions and stuff like that before you can even get a chance to even explain it to anyone. Like, about going certain places and them being there already just to mess with you, or going certain places and like they could be empty, and as soon as you arrive, like, all these cars like just crowd you. It's because this whole like organized effort, you know, against you, or against us, those of light, or those who are positive, is once again just as much spiritual, which is above all human, all human knowledge. Really, it's just as much spiritual as it is physical. Um, but I basically just wanted to share that story, you guys, or my kind of journey to opening up, to to let others know who may be sensing certain things that your senses are correct. Especially if you are a spiritual person, like I've been, like basically my whole life, and have had like phenomenon happen to you. You can kind of understand more, about how certain things are happening, and you have no idea like how. So with that said, see you guys in the next video. The next video I think would be some more of my personal experiences, just to show you guys, I'm going through a lot of the same, circumstances when it comes to these people that you guys are going through. And then after that, as usual, I will follow up with some scripture, some encouraging words. But yeah, you guys, once again, you're not alone. And you guys are not crazy, because as you'll see, there are tons of people. You can just look up the hashtags. There are tons of people going through these exact things. Just be careful, because as I mentioned, some people are, perpetrators, just to discourage you from talking about it. But that's where the spiritual aspect comes in, because you have to have some kind of spiritual base to sense what you can't see. And so I'll leave it at that, you guys. And once again, love you guys. And remember, this is just a short life. And after this life, we will have eternal peace. So, just try and just keep your energy, positive. Keep yourself uplifted. Pray. Prayer is helps a lot. Helps me a lot. Or find some kind of spiritual base that's positive. And with that being said, see you guys next time, and love you.